Hey everyone, welcome back to Cicada & Co. If you've been following along, I haven't been in the videos much lately. I'm 5 weeks postpartum now, so it feels good to be back out working on the house. We have a big reveal for you today. If you're here just to see the baby, she's not going to be in this video, but that's okay because we're going to show you our front porch that we've been making over. Some of you have been asking to see a full tour of the house, and here's a sneak peek at what that looks like. For example, this is what the nursery currently looks like. When we first moved in, I was 9 months pregnant, so we haven't put all of the rooms together yet, but we'll get to that when we can. Renovating this abandoned house has thrown a lot of challenges our way, and getting pregnant right in the middle of it brought a whole new set of challenges. As soon as I saw 2 lines on my pregnancy test, I knew I needed to find a vitamin I could trust, and I started taking Ritual's Essential Prenatal Vitamin. Now that our baby's here, I've been taking Ritual's postnatal multivitamin, and I've also tried their Essential Protein Daily Shake. Just because we've moved into the house doesn't mean our renovation is over, and now my time is more limited than ever. Between renovating the house, working full-time, and taking care of our baby, sometimes I don't have time for breakfast first thing. But one thing I love about Ritual is that even if I don't eat food, I can still take my vitamins because they have a gentle, slow-release capsule that never hurts my stomach. These vitamins also come with a scent-infused tab. You can choose between lemon or mint. This one's the lemon, but I've tried both scents and they're both really nice. And so when you open your vitamins in the morning, you get this really nice scent, and it just makes taking your vitamin like a little treat. Ritual's vitamins are made with clean, high-quality ingredients that are traceable because Ritual shares their sources and suppliers for all their key ingredients, which gives me a lot of peace of mind knowing what's going into my body and also into hers. Ritual has a lot of other products too, like a multivitamin for 18 plus or 50 plus for men and for women. And so if you're pregnant, postpartum, or somebody looking for a really great vitamin to try, check out the link in our top comment to receive 30% off your first order of Ritual. Thanks to Ritual for sponsoring this part of our video.
I am on the porch today. It's a beautiful sunny day. Forecast says minimal chance of rain. Let's hope that holds because I want to get this done and I want to show you the before and after. So let's get into that. First off, if you remember last week, talking about pride and being humbled by the rain and by a set screw that was rusted. Well, sometimes things just take time and there's a time and place for everything. So today, got the screw. Got the doorknob off. I think it's going to be a good day. All right, let's go ahead and put on the paint. So here's the color that we chose. It's kind of a light blue. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this painted. Try not to have a heat stroke. It's a hot one today. I guess that's what happens when it doesn't rain. You know, the rain put me out of work last weekend from getting this done, but at the same time, the rain also keeps it cool in the afternoon. Today, no afternoon rain. So I'm working as hard and fast as I can in this heat to get it done because eventually it will rain again. And I want to have this done. Time to get this stuff cleaned up and looking a lot better. This house, you know, now that we're living in it, when it was just a construction site, you know, a house remodel, it was fine. But now that I see it every day, from when I wake up to when I go to bed, I'm getting real tired of looking at things not finished. So, time to get all these projects going. That is really pretty. So you can imagine it definitely has been a challenge. You know, we moved in earlier than we wanted to for various reasons that we explained last week, but you know, a lot of these things we wanted to tackle ourselves, so we didn't want to pay somebody to do. As nice as it would be right now to have someone else doing this, but no, then we wouldn't have a channel, would we? If we were just paying somebody else to do it. I don't think as interesting as it would be still to paint this house. Most painters probably wouldn't put it on a channel. Dripping all over. Such a messy painter. Yeah, definitely a messy painter. much as I've done this, you think I would be getting better, but like I said before, practice usually makes improvements. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get it finished up, and I will show you when we're done. Another reason I really want to get this done is because I'd like to get back into the yard, get the yard work done. I do have a plan to contact someone who might be able to help with that. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, the plan is to have the house look great, trim painted, new colors, things cut back on the inside. You know, there's a lot of trees growing close. I trimmed it all up last year. But if you know anything about hurricane season, is we're in it now. And a lot of those trees have grown back, so I have to cut them all back again. Happens every year. But yeah, so I've got to do that and then have the house looking pretty. Then I'd like to cut away some of the foliage in the front to let the house open up to the street so people can see it. But I want to get it all painted before that happens. Let's see what kind of help I can get with the yard. I've had some family volunteer. I haven't taken them up on it yet, which I need to. That was a while ago. So I need to jump on that before things change. And I know my dad's coming back to do some work. He wants to cut down some trees, which we need to in the back. Need to open it up. Like to put in a garden eventually. What I want to do is get a chipper. I'm gonna get a wood chipper. So that way when we cut down all these little trees, we can just chip them all up right there in the yard, and we have paths running around through everything, and it'd be great to just put the wood chips down there. Or make a pile, and then eventually, you know, we'd have some really good soil, make a compost pile. We did start a compost pile in the back. But it's going to take a while for some of those bigger branches to break down. But eventually we'll have some really nice soil that we can use for the garden. Shouldn't say it. What to do with this channel, you know, after all these additional projects are done, I don't think people are going to really watch season after season of tree trimming. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't checked into those channels. But yeah, I think one thing that we could do to keep it going would be maybe some kind of homesteading. You know, we do have half an acre. It would be interesting to see what we could grow. You know, we live in a city. It'd be interesting to see what we could grow on a half acre. It's going to be a challenge trying to keep all these trees and expect to have a big garden, but I think we could grow a significant amount. You know, we do live in Florida. Growing season is long. All right, we'll have to do a splatter count at the end. How many drops did I make? Significant so far, and I'm not even done. That'll count as a splatter too. We'll tally them up at the end. But Kristin and I were talking yesterday about people we've inspired, which was pretty inspiring one of ourselves. I mean, it's pretty inspiring to ourselves that just having this, let's face it, we're not doing really big stuff here. At least not lately. But, you know, we continue to get comments from people saying that they decided to work on their house. They've always wanted to paint a room, and they decided to go paint the room or tear up the carpet. That's pretty amazing. You know, you don't realize always the extent of your reach when you're talking to people, but I haven't actually met any of you, and I'm talking to you. And it's actually inspiring people to get up and do stuff. So I like that, because that's kind of my day job, is to get people to do stuff. And so, yeah, when I hear that, by just kind of living the example and how inspiring that can be to people, you don't even have to talk to them about it. And just by the way you live your life can inspire people to change the way they live their life. But you didn't think you'd get this much philosophy in one video. Or maybe you did. Maybe you knew you were going to get... Maybe you knew you were going to get this much philosophy in a video, and that's why you turned it on. Maybe we'll be a philosophy channel. Just kidding. Not that I wouldn't enjoy that. This is a mess. The dreaded front door. And here we go. This is the first coat. I still have to paint the screen door, but I'm going to move on to doing this blue trim while I have a blue brush in hand. So I will travel around the house and start painting the rest of the trim. And as you guys have been following along, you know how much of a journey this has been. You know, we've had a few setbacks. Every house renovation is going to have setbacks. If not, you live in the matrix and you've accepted that you live in the matrix and everything is great. And if not, then that's exciting. Because but, you know, lately feels like we've had some major setbacks. Can't figure out why. So here's a look at the porch. Scraped it as much as I'm gonna scrape it. I will roll some peel stop on there, I think. There's still a few spots that, you know, might come up in the future, so I want to go ahead and seal that. First, before I do the peel stop, I'm going to fill in some of the cracks. So you can see over here still a lot of paint on there, but it's on there really good. I've been scraping it with the metal scraper and it's not coming up. I think some peel stop will make sure to keep that down. So I'm just using Quickcrete concrete crack sealer kind of stuff. And I actually used this in the laundry room before I painted the floor in there. Came out pretty nice. I'm just gonna put it on kind of like silicone. Just put it in there, smush it in with my finger, and then I'll come back through and wipe the sides off. And it's already getting a little thicker, so it's working fast. Next day, and let's see where I left off with the drip count. Do a quick assessment. All right, let's see. So right off the bat, we'll count that as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 drops. 9 drops. Now I'm going to, I've scraped everything, gonna give it one more sweep and peel stop. So I'm gonna roll that and we'll be ready to paint the floor. You know, I did scrape this entire thing down. There's still little bits here and there, and I don't want that little piece to turn into a bigger issue and have to redo this at any point. So I think what I'm gonna do is just brush into the corners and roll over some of the spots here. I may not actually hit the entire porch, so I don't have to be too careful with this. I'm just kind of hitting spots like right here where some of this stuff just didn't want to come up. You know, like you see these bright red contrast spots here. That's where that red paint was in there. There's still, like I said, there's still a little bit spots here and there that are kind of flaky. But after all day of scraping, I'm ready to paint. I do really like this original color that they put in the stamped concrete. I think our terracotta color is going to match it fairly well. Try and bring it back to look a little more original. Show you when I'm done. All right, the next morning we are checking out the taupe because in the evening last night we thought it might be a little too light.
I think it's too light.
Yeah, I do too. You can't hardly tell.
It's a really pretty color, but because of the placement up high on the house and next to the white, I don't think it's enough of a contrast. We had originally been deciding between this lighter color and then like a slightly darker color. And I think maybe we need to go with the darker color.
Yep. Back to the store. More paint. Picked a new color this morning, so I am going to repaint the trim.
And I'm gonna work here on the porch to paint another coat of this blue, and then hopefully in a little bit we'll be able to show you the final result.
I still gotta paint the floor.
And we need to paint the floor, and then hopefully we'll show you the final result.
Hopefully. Trim's painted. Time to cut in on this concrete paint. So I'm using a satin, it's called Porch and Floor. It's designed for concrete and, you know, heavy tread places, stairways, or, you know, walkways, things like that. Here's the color. This heat is definitely taking a toll on the paint. So seems to separate pretty fast. It's gonna look good. All right, so I counted 11 drops and I made 2 more when I did a second coat. So now I'm gonna paint over them. Despite the heat, at least it hasn't rained yet. I thought I heard some thunder, but it might have just been a motorcycle. Honestly, usually I'm pretty good about spotting the difference, but maybe not. Gonna roll the porch today. The only roller I had in stock, and I am not gonna go get another one, so I'm just gonna use this little one here. I see some dog prints on here. I think one of the dogs got up here last night, so got most of the dust off, some of the sand off. But, okay, gonna roll it and we'll be good to go.
Okay, here it is, our final reveal of the front porch. We're so happy with how it turned out. I love the blue around the molding and the arches. We do still need to do our front door, so that'll be in a video coming up once we get that done. But this just looks so much fresher and so much cleaner. If you remember how the house looked when we first bought it.
Welcome home.
So this is a huge improvement that we've been waiting to make for a long time, and now we have a nice entryway to our house, so when people come over, it doesn't look like an abandoned house. Complete with guard dog.